Welcome to MSM Solutions YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be talking about control charts. QC charts are actually SPC charts, and in the lab, they are Levey-Jennings charts. What does that mean? What is an SPC? SPC is statistical process control. It is a method of quality control which employs statistical methods to monitor and control a process. Statistical process control was pioneered by Walter A. SHEWART at Bell Laboratories in the early 1920s. When you then move closer to the lab, we speak of Levey-Jennings charts. A Levey-Jennings chart is a graph that quality control data is plotted on to give a visual indication of whether a laboratory test is working well. The distance from the mean is measured in standard deviation. This chart is named so after Stanley Levy and E.R. Jennings, pathologists who in the 1950s suggested that SHEWART individual control chart could be used in clinical laboratories. There are different types of these SPC or QC charts. And depending on what you want to see, there are different ways you can actually put through the data. Some of the common ones used are like the CUSUM chart. This is a cumulative sum chart. It monitors deviation of individual sample results from a targeted value. The cumulative sum is the sum of these deviation over time. It is designed to detect small shifts in the process average from the targeted value. So you can plot these as a cumulative sum. This is one way that you can display. There is a lot of other statistical calculations that get into the calculation until you can plot the graph. But the simplest format of explaining what a CUSUM chart is, it's a cumulative sum of deviations over time. We then have SHEWART individual or moving range chart. The difference between the two is that the individual chart displays individual measured results, which is how this is the most common format, where each result that comes through is plotted on the graph. The moving range chart displays the difference from one point to the next. So you can either plot these values as their original individual charts, or you can actually calculate the differences and plot that. So that will be the difference between the individual and the moving range chart when it comes to these SHEWART charts. What you need to note with these graphs is that the normal distribution is not assumed nor required in the calculation of a control limit. I state this because when we then go to the next chart, which is now closer to the lab, being the Levey-Jennings, will then see that normal distribution is actually used. We assume normal distribution when we display those charts. When we now move closer to the lab, we speak of Levey-Jennings charts as we have indicated earlier, and this is the special case of your SHEWART individual chart, and we'll discuss that in more detail in the next video.